It is I, Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today, we're going to be talking about Thor: Love and Thunder. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros: MCU. I've said it many times. I'm going to keep on saying it for every MCU movie that comes out. MCU itself is a pro for a very simple reason: it makes stupid money. Let's look through all of these. Endgame, 2.7 billion, 2 billion, almost 2 billion, 1.5, 1.3, 1.2, 1.1, 900, 800, 700, 600. Look at these numbers. It's mind-boggling. And now Thor: Love and Thunder is the 29th MCU movie. I believe it's number 29. And yeah, all these numbers, they just scream pro. But it's not just the MCU, the Thor movies in general. The Thor series has been a little weird compared to other series within the MCU, like say Iron Man's movies or Captain America's movies. Where the first two Thor movies, the first one was good. It was fine. But the second one, nobody remembers Thor: The Dark World at all. That is one of the most forgettable MCU movies, easily one of the most forgettable MCU movies, period. This is around that point where Thor didn't have much of a character, he didn't have much personality. All he really was big blonde dude with a hammer. And that's about it. But Thor Ragnarok changed everything. It's like Marvel, they went to Taika Waititi. They're like, hey, dude, make a Thor movie. And Taika was like, okay. And my God, did he make a Thor movie. He gave it a lot of more color, more energy, more personality, style, all that stuff that the series was very much lacking entirely. And Thor Ragnarok came out in 2017. And people were like, damn, this is really good. And it did quite a bit better than the first two Thor movies. So, yeah, 315 million domestic, 850 million worldwide. So, yeah, naturally you want to make another Thor movie after that. Same with and Taika Waititi returning to direct Thor: Love and Thunder. So, yeah. So the MCU, the Thor movies, their trajectory, it's all good. It's all great. So that's an easy pro. So the MCU plus the Thor series within the MCU pro. So that's pro number one. Pro number two, this movie has several aces up its sleeve. First off, Guardians of the Galaxy, they're in the movie. Grant, they're not in the whole movie. I don't think anyone expected them to be in the whole movie, but they're in there decent, long enough to make somewhat of an impact. Because I have seen the movie. And yeah, having them, we haven't seen them in an MCU movie for a while, since Endgame. Same as Thor, we haven't seen him since Endgame too. So seeing these characters back again is going to be enticing for fans. So, yeah, that's the first ace this movie has. Second ace is Christian Bale, and he's, portraying the villain Gore. And yes, I know from what I've seen, the character in the movie does not match the character from the comics, but Christian Bale is a very respectable actor, and he's one of the few actors who can say he has been both a Marvel movie and a DC movie. He was Batman in the Nolan era. Now he's the villain in Thor: Love and Thunder. And let me just say, as someone who's seen the movie, he is one of the highlights. He's absolutely one of the highlights. He's probably one of the better MCU villains, if you ask me, because he actually is memorable, right? He's not just whatever the villain in Thor: The Dark World was. He actually made a bit of an impact. So, yeah, that's ace number two. And ace number three, well, obviously, the most obvious one, Natalie Portman returning to the MCU as Jane Foster. Now, she was in the first two Thor movies. She just kind of existed. She was just there. But in this movie, they changed that. to where they match like what happened in the comics. So what happened is it's not really much of a spoiler. It's like in the beginning of the movie, so it's like not a humongous deal. Jane Foster has cancer, right? And and even with that, she, Mjolnir, Thor's original hammer. Now he has Stormbreaker, but Mjolnir, how I describe it. She goes to New Asgard, sees Mjolnir, and then Mjolnir, obviously it was destroyed in Ragnarok. Thanks to it was Hela, yeah, her. So it's destroyed, but it starts coming together again for Jane, and that's how she becomes, you know, Lady Thor, Mighty Thor, whatever you want to call her. And yeah, that's why she looks like this. Alongside Thor, that's why she looks like that. And so yeah, having her as Mighty Thor is going to be very interesting, and it was one like the one things from like all the trailers. People were just like, oh, okay then. So yeah, having her come back in a much bigger role, much more important role, instead of just being Thor's girlfriend, like, I think helps the movie. So that's all those aces: Guardians, Christian Bale's Gore, and Natalie Portman returning. All are pros. So that's three pros in one. So that's pro number two is all those aces. Another pro, competition, there's really nothing. I mean, sure, there's movies that are out. Minions 2, Top Gun Maverick, Elvis, Jurassic World Dominion, but thing is, a lot of these movies are either really old or, yeah, they're just mostly old. And Thor Love and Thunder is the type of movie that kind of becomes a bit of a void. Like, it takes away from all the other movies so it can benefit itself. This happens all the time with a lot of big movies. This happened with The Batman, it happened with Doctor Strange 2, happened with Top Gun Maverick, Jurassic World Dominion. It's a natural occurrence, and it's gonna happen again. So like all those movies, like sure, Minions 2 made a lot of money. It did. But I feel like Thor Love and Thunder is gonna take some of that kid audience away from Minions 2. So that might be a problem for Minions 2, but it won't be a problem for Thor Love and Thunder. And when it comes to competition coming up, like next week is just like the easiest W ever for Thor. Because of the three movies coming out next weekend, it's like Miss Harris Goes to Paris, Where the Crawdads Sing, and Paws of Fury. None of those, they are all mid-tier at best. None of them stand a chance. So that'll be easy. Thor Love and Thunder won't deal with serious competition until 2 weeks from now when Nope comes out. That could make money, but that's not till for 2 weeks. So Thor Love and Thunder will be fine for a good bit. So competition really isn't much of an issue here, now and in the future. And also help. Well, I might as well mention as another pro, but competition not mostly a non-issue. So that's a pro. Another pro is that this movie, it's kind of the last guaranteed blockbuster to come out. It's the last guaranteed blockbuster coming out for a long while. We're talking months. Like the next movie that's even within like the same realm as this is Black Adam. And if it's not that, it's Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And Black Adam comes out in October. Black Panther Wakanda Forever comes out in November. So that's a long time. And sure, there are a lot of movies coming out in between that could do really well. They have potential, like Nope, Bullet Train. Those like the main two that I could think of, like off the top of my head. Maybe Dragon Ball Superhero. That could make some money. But besides those, it's just a whole lot of mostly mid-tier adult stuff. Like there's no like big blockbuster, like 4-quadrant blockbuster until like Black Adam or what Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So it has that going for it, definitely. It's the last big dumb movie of the summer, so and for a while. So go watch it now because after this, it's kind of all downhill from here when it comes to the box office. So yeah, Thor's status of being the last big blockbuster for a while, I think that's a pro. Any other pros? Oh yeah, Thursday night previews. God damn. Now, I thought it would make between like in the mid 20s for its preview numbers, but it exceeded my expectations a little bit. It made 29 million in previews. Now, look at all previews. It's number 14. All right, it's tied with Rogue One. And when it comes to MCU movies, the only MCU movies that did better Thursday night are Endgame, No Way Home, Infinity War, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So it's in some good territory. Not to mention, this preview number, I gotta scroll down. This preview number, 29 million, doubles Thor Ragnarok. That did 14.5 million. So that's an excellent sign. Granted, it's a lot easier going to Thursday previews in the summer than it is in any other time of the year, but still, very impressive. Very strong number. And that's just a really good sign overall for this movie. So, yeah, very strong Thursday number. That's an automatic pro. uh, any other pros I can think of? Trying to think. We're not really talking about overseas, but it's doing all right. It's doing decent enough overseas. It's behind Doctor Strange 2, but I expected that. But it's doing decent enough overseas. But domestically, it's doing fantastic. Trying to think what other pros I can think of. Well, this isn't a pro or a con. The reviews, they're pretty mid. Last I checked, it's been going between like 68, 69, 70%. It's been within that range. That's not great, but it's not terrible either. It's not going to turn anybody off from seeing the movie. And besides, mm, even if reviews were much lower, would that really stop this movie too much? I mean, sure, there was Eternals. That movie was just straight up bad. A movie I never want to watch ever again. But I mean, look at Jurassic World Dominion. That reviews for that were really not good. That was like a 30%, and it still opened big. So sometimes reviews don't matter when it comes for certain movies, and this is definitely one of those movies. And even so, reviews are decent enough, and the audience score, I believe it's at 87%, 80, maybe 85 to 87. I don't remember exactly, but it's still pretty good. So yeah, decent enough critical score, good audience scores, pro, automatic pro. And I might as well mention, well, okay, for cons, they really don't apply because Thursday preview shows this movie's gonna do well. But I heard a lot of people talk about Phase 4, and a lot of people have been complaining that it's been very directionless, very aimless. It just it feels like it feels so much weaker than the other phases, and I have to agree. I mean, it's just there's no real point. There's no real goal. Like with phase one, two, three, the primary goal was Thanos, right? Everything, even like sure, some movies were more standalone than others, but all that was leading to Thanos in Infinity War and Endgame, right? But then after that, well, what do you do? I mean, it's not like they were gonna stop. Like you can't stop a money train like this, but they would never let that happen. So now we're kind of in this aimless period where everyone's just doing whatever. But when it comes to the Phase 4 movies, I thought I really thought Far From Home was a Phase 4 movie, but it's not. It's Phase 3. But Black Widow, that had to deal with the Disney Plus experiment, which resulted in Scarlett Johansson suing Disney. So there was that. And it didn't even do that great anyway. Shang-Chi did better, but it still didn't really do all that great in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it did well for the time, but now it's kind of eh. Eternals underperformed a bit. deservedly so because it's really not good. Then you got No Way Home, which destroyed all expectations, all records, everything. And it's going to get re released in September to make even more money. And then we had Doctor Strange 2, which, although it didn't hit $1 billion, it got very close. It will no doubt have the biggest opening weekend of the year, biggest opening day, preview numbers, all of that. So Phase 4 has been a real mixed bag. It started out weak, but it has gotten stronger over time, just like the actual box office. So, yeah, might as well mention Phase 4 being kind of iffy, but it seems like box office wise, it's going in the right direction, going back to how it originally was with the other phases. So, that's good. That's, well, so yeah, Phase 4 being kind of iffy, that's kind of a con, but doesn't really matter now. I guess another con I kind of had before this movie came out, I was thinking, is this one Thor movie too many? That's why the thumbnail says that. It's because this is Thor is the first solo character to get 4 movies. Iron Man stopped at 3, Captain America stopped at 3 for now, and Spider-Man stopped at 3 for now. Like, no one has gotten this far yet, obviously. But I thought, when you reach 4 movies in a franchise, you're kind of pushing it. Well, you really are pushing it. That's when things take a really bad turn. But here, that doesn't seem to be happening. In fact, it seems like it's getting stronger. So, yeah, that's not much of a con now anymore. So, yeah. So opening weekend. Originally, I predicted between 130 and 140. I was like, this is gonna do better than Ragnarok, but I don't see it doing like greatest of all time numbers. With this preview number, I'm gonna have to increase my expectations a little bit. Instead of 130 to 140, I'm going with 150 to 160. I think that's reasonable. I think that's achievable. It's gonna be front loaded, that's guaranteed. But I think it might be a little less front loaded than Doctor Strange 2, because Doctor Strange 2, the hype for that was a little more intense. Thanks to, coming off of No Way Home and the whole Illuminati thing. That caused a lot of discussion and made people want to see that movie immediately. This really doesn't have that, which might benefit the movie. So, but yeah, I'm thinking between 150 to 160 opening weekend, and its total. Marvel movies can be kind of front loaded, so I think 350 is the goal. I think it should at the very most beat Ragnarok. Should at the pace it's going. So I'm going with 350 final total. And overseas, I don't know. Will it hit $1 billion? Probably not. It might go a little better than Ragnarok, but we have to see. Obviously, at the end of the weekend, we'll know for sure where it's headed, and obviously, second weekend, we'll know where it's really headed. Yeah, that's what I think is gonna happen with Thor: Love and Thunder, and that's it. Just this movie, which makes sense because why would a movie want to go up against any movie want to go up against an MCU movie? It doesn't usually end too great. So, yeah. So next week I have 3 movies. I already mentioned them. Miss Harris Goes to Paris, Paws of Fury, Where the Crawdads Sing. Not looking forward to talking about Paws of Fury at all. But with that movie, man, ugh. I'm just not looking forward to it. But I have to do it anyway. So there's those 3 movies next week, and then Nope after that, and then DC League of Super Pets, and I guess Vengeance after that, and that's July. So yeah. Yeah, not a whole lot of quantity, but we're definitely making up for box office quantity in the form of Minions 2 and Thor: Love and Thunder. So that's great. But and also Thor: Love and Thunder, since it's definitely going to make 100 million this weekend, well over that. It's going to be the first time since 2018 where 2 movies back to back open with 100 million. Last time that happened was with Incredibles 2 and Fallen Kingdom. So this is wonderful. This is fantastic. Too bad the box office is gonna tank after this, but this is still great. This it's almost like the pandemic never even happened when it comes to these box office numbers. So this is great. This is all fantastic news. So yeah. Anywho, yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? I got playlists on the homepage for all previous prediction videos I made this year. Want to check out my prediction video for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness? You can. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. For Thor: Love and Thunder, I covered it a few times because it was grouped with a bunch of other Phase 4 movies. I don't remember the exact episode numbers, but I'm pretty sure Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, the Marvels are all connected to that. So, want to watch those episodes? You can. And all 136 episodes. So you have a lot to choose from. So go binge it now from beginning to now. Go do it. And there's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. Just did June recap yesterday, so you'll want to know my thoughts on what happened there. You can watch that. July recap will come out first week of August, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.